Welcome to Survivor NSFW. Man, there's a beautiful man right here, long hair, and it's not Jonny Fairplay, because right now is Jonny Fairplay's birthday. He turned 46 today. He is in New Jersey at a live event viewing party, and he's doing his own thing. I believe he's got Michelle Fitzgerald and Nick Wilson with him at his party. So they're in New Jersey. I'm here in Ohio. With literally, I'm not just saying this, Troyzan, like literally when I saw you first on One World, I was like, man, this dude rules. Like he reminds me of myself. And I remember seeing your casting video. Right. You had one of the most amazing production-wise casting videos that I've ever seen. Well, and I know you're a huge fan of the show.
Oh, massive fan. I mean, I'm still like, I got if I could take my camera or this monitor and put it around, like I got a giant Survivor, like One World thing that someone made. I've got a towel that's like sitting on, like I just got Survivor. People like, if they come in, they'd be like, oh dude, yeah. you really are a fan. Like, I mean, I still watch it. Like I get into it. Like I get excited when like, that first one, it's like, like tonight, like it shows winners of war, shows the flag. Yeah. I still get all like, whoa, okay, So.
And that's the beauty of it, dude, because we love Survivor. As cheesy as it sounds, man, it gives you chills. You hear that dramatic whoa, music.
It's like
and the slow-mo shots of like the winners at war flag blowing, and you see these players that we all have watched for years battling it out. And the cool thing is you've played not once, but twice.
Right.
And you have played with two of the winners. One World, Kim Spradlin.
I played with four of the winners.
Oh, four of the winners. Okay. Yeah. Well, so you Game Changers, Sarah won. Right. And then One World, Kim won.
Kim won,
and
right.
Then who else have you played with?
Tony was on Game Changers. So okay. I played with Tony. He was on my initial tribe, and Sandra. They were both on my first tribe in Game Changers. So I played and actually strategized with, four of these people, like 100%. And I know Michelle Fitzgerald really well because I traveled to Fiji with her and Ty to go back to the islands.
So let's talk about that. So you, prior to Michelle going out for Winners at War,
right? She
went to Fiji with you guys
basically 6 months before she left for Winners First at War. Yeah, like we went.
Is it the same island?
I went back. She didn't know about the islands. So only Ty and I knew where we actually lived and played.
Yeah.
So we went back to Fiji and we found out the name of the islands that we actually lived on, the name of the islands that we actually played the challenges on, and where tribal council. So Mana is where all the challenges are and where tribal council is. And we stayed there at some little backpackers resort. And I invited Michelle only because she knew Ty and I had like an extra plane ticket. They gave me 2 free tickets. And I'm like, people from my season, they didn't want to go. I'm like, Michelle, hey, it's an open, like as buddies, let's go. She goes, why not? Yeah. So, we went back to like where we actually lived. I mean, it took a big deal. We had to get permission from the chiefs and, paying a little extra money, and then you got to get there by boat, and then we had to walk around this island. Like it took us like a full half a day to walk around to go to where the camps were. But yeah, and I told Michelle jokingly when we were there, I'm like, if you ever go back, or maybe if I go back, like we should have brought some cans of tuna and hid them in the caves over here, and no one would even know shit. We sneak off and fucking over there. Like, why is Troyzan so he's like never hungry? He's like always like fired up.
Yeah. Oh my God.
So and then sure enough, she goes back. So it was kind of like a joke when she came back. I said it would have been funny if you would have hit some shit out there.
So do you think that going there prior to her playing that there's any advantage whatsoever as far as is this maybe where they had idols, Troyzan, or you know what I mean?
I mean, the only thing that you can I told her where the water well and stuff was, but it wasn't like I wasn't like this is where you can look for idols, because it's you're not, it's like any place, they put it anywhere. So I don't think it's an advantage. The only advantage is that, you just know your surroundings. I mean, a little bit. So maybe that's a 10% advantage, I'm saying. But, for Sarah, it's an advantage. He's played with it's Tony and Sandra both. I mean, they know it's kind of when you know the islands a little bit.
Yeah.
And you don't have to struggle as much to know where to go fish or to know where to get coconut, like that part maybe, and where to actually build your shelter. There's not that extra struggle, maybe a little bit of less strain in the beginning of the game. But as far as like strategy is concerned, I mean, maybe like, the areas better and you could go hide off and you could sneak off and, listen in on conversations. Maybe that someone hasn't been out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean,
so do you think, or when you went back to Fiji, having played there, what was it like to go back? Because did you ever go back to the place that you played One World ever?
No, I was planning on it because it was Samoa. Because Samoa is about a 4-hour flight from Fiji. Because we had to actually go when my first season we played in Samoa. But we flew into Fiji first, and then got another plane and flew to Samoa. So. It's like I've been in that Fiji airport, like I can't tell you how many times now. It's like it's crazy every time I go back because it's a small airport, it's like it's Fiji and it's Fijian and but no, I haven't made it back to Samoa, but I plan on it for 100% just to go back to like if you went back to Caramoan, right? You were in Caramoan,
dude,
right? It'd be bizarre to go back, wouldn't it? Just to be
it's one of those things I would love. It's that's like one of my bucket list things is like to take my family there.
You got to
go back and to be like, this is where I play. Like it's such a trip that I got to play Survivor in the first place, and the Philippines where we were is such an insane trip to get there. Multiple flights,
that's what I heard.
Bus rides, boat ride. I mean, it was like 36 hours from Los Angeles to get there. And it just like, I would love to go back. I mean, obviously they weren't, volunteering Fiji tickets.
Because it's like quite a bit more. Like it's like for us, the Fiji flights are, it's a nonstop flight out of LA, so it's quick. It's like not that big of a deal. You got to go back to Caramoan. I know you guys got to go through a lot of shit because I was talking to Culpepper about it because he played his first season in the Philippines,
right? Yeah.
But I'm telling you, if you get a chance to do it, bro, you just got to do it because you're gonna go back to if you can go back to the islands where you actually slept in the dirt, in the sand, and your shelter. Because when you go, I mean, Ty and I went and we looked at, I said, dude. We're here. There's the tree where I notch the tree every day. It's weird not to see a shelter and production and stuff, but like it's all there. The trails, and it's kind of like a little bit sad because the fire's gone and the shelter and stuff. So, but the memories just come back. And dude, we got all emotional. He started getting all teary eyed and crying, and I had to hug him, and then I started crying. And like, dude, we're really here. Like it's like we lived right here. Like it's just so bizarre, and then. Walking on the beaches that you walk on every day because 39 days sounds like a lot to people, or 30 days or 20 days,
right?
But it's actually 20 days is like a couple of months when you're out there. You know how it is. It's like one day just doesn't seem like one day. The amount of time that you were on Survivor is just a lifetime of like it just sticks with you forever. So if you go back, I know you'll be just like, dude, what?
I'm an emotional guy in general, dude. And the fact that you guys had that when you guys went back and you had that emotional time, it just proves like how much the experience meant to you. Because I know some players that are recruited and not maybe a huge fan. It might not, mean the same thing to them. But and you also did something that I was able to do. And that is the Durham Warriors Survival Challenge.
Yeah.
So shortly after my season, Troyzan, I got asked, I went to a reality rally, and Bob Crowley asked me to, if I wanted to play this Survivor game at his property. And I said, hell yeah. So I go out there, I played the first time. Kobe Archer was there, and it was amazing. I tell people, most people are not going to get on real Survivor. But if you want the experience, the closest thing to real Survivor without the $1 million and being on national television, that event, the Survival Challenge, was the real.
What year did you play? Did you play before I played or after?
Yeah, so I played. So my season aired in 2013. So I think I either played in 2013 or 2014. I played before you did.
Okay.
And then I think you played, and then I played again last minute. They had a cancellation.
Oh, wow.
And so I got to play twice.
Because I would do it again. I loved it. I mean, I didn't know. I thought, sure. I mean, I got invited, and I'm like, sure, I'll go. And I mean, it's going to be a bunch of fans, and it could be goofy, but I like Survivor, and I know how much the fans kind of like meeting survivors. Because if I was never played, and I met you or anybody from Survivor, I'd be like, oh my god, I just met Matt Bischoff.
Oh yeah,
like, really?
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Yeah,
I'd be,
totally.
So when they invited me, I thought, I didn't know it was going to be like so Survivor-ish. I just didn't know it was going to feel like when we're out there camping and when we're doing challenges and we're strategizing and doing that, all feels just like Survivor. The challenges, some of the challenges were exactly like Survivor.
Yeah.
I mean, with just a crowd there kind of watching, but I mean, it felt the same. I mean, and it was compacted into 4 days, and I'm like, and you get close to people. Like I got super close to the survivors that I was with. I played with, it was kind of like I was on like a fans versus favorites kind of thing. It was like put 6 of us survivors together.
Yeah.
So I was kind of lucky. I played with like, I got to play with, people that like, my brain just went dead, but it's like I played with the Jamie from Guatemala. I played with God, who else? My brain just went dead. It's like
that's okay. You play with a bunch of former survivors.
The guy from the first season from
Borneo.
Yeah. So it's like,
did you play with Joel Klug?
Joel, I played with Joel. Yeah, that's
Joel's
my brain
awesome.
like my my brain.
Oh yeah, I mean, I played with Kobe Archer the first time. Then I played with like Sarge Jason and Kelly Shin and Spencer Bledsoe.
Okay, right.
And Nina from your season, Nina Acosta.
Okay, right, okay.
Yeah, so there were 6 survivors. I played. It was Twyla.
Right.
I'm missing one person, but man, it's freaking awesome, and they're doing it again. And I know they're casting. I mean, it might be done casting, but it was the real deal. So do you think that after you played One World, you got to play Durham Warriors, and then Durham Warriors probably got you, little pre-gaming to go back for Game Changers?
Well, it had been. I think I played Durham in 2015.
Yeah.
And then played Game Changers, went out in 2016 of the summer of 2016.
Right.
So a year, but like playing Durham really got me back in the mode of like strategizing, the feeling of Survivor. I mean, it helped me tremendously because I felt like I got to play a practice round. When do you ever get to go out and actually play Survivor? You can go practice challenges. You can try to strategize and think what you would do. But until you're actually in it. So it was like, I told Bob and I told other people, I told Joel, and, it's like, and I mean, everybody that I played with, like, listen, going out there was like a huge advantage to me and I think it helped me to play to get to the 39th day in Game Changer. I mean, even though, I mean, I just feel like, and even like the challenges, one of the challenges in Game Changers was in the Durham Warriors challenge. So I'm like, when I walked into the challenge in Game Changers, I'm like, oh my God, this challenge, I did it. Durham, like, if I don't win this, they're going to kill me. So that's the challenge I won.
That's amazing.
It was an individual immunity. It was the one where you got to stack up words that say like, or letters that say like whatever.
Just stack. It'll say
it's on a balance thing, and you got to hold the rope so it doesn't flip over. That one, you got to walk backwards and grab a block, and then come forward again, and you got to do it like 4 or 5 times.
I did that too on that. I love that challenge.
Yeah. So like, and I was behind, but in my mind, I'm like, I know how this goes. Everyone starts to get nervous if someone catches up, and like, it's the slow, steady guy. And that's what I started to do. And I slowly caught up to Andrea, and Andrea looked over like, oh my God, Troyzan caught me. And then I got, she's going to get fucking nervous. And sure enough, what does he do? Like, they're all over shit fell. I'm like, okay, there you go. It's like, I'm going to win this. And I won. So I'm like, Bob, if I wouldn't have won that, dude, I mean, I didn't have to win it, but to win an individual immunity challenge in general to me is like, I was super stoked just because you're on a season of all returners, and to win one or two, individual immunities, or finding an idol or whatever, it's like all the stuff. So I'm like, Durham was, I'm like, yeah, toast to Durham.
Yeah. So tonight's episode, man, it's like finally people use their brain and get Boston Rob out of the game. And I don't know if that was going to happen, man. I mean, at the beginning of the episode, I was like thinking from this whole season, it's like, wow, some of these big legendary players, I mean, a lot of them are going home. You see, Tyson's gone and a lot of the old school players. But, man, Boston Rob and Sandra going into this game before the show started, I thought, man, they're not going to last at all. Right. And I still cannot believe throughout tonight's episode how much power Boston Rob really does have over people.
It's just crazy how he does, but that is his game. I mean, he's been playing like that.
Yeah.
Since Marquesas.
Right.
So he does have this, like, this is what we're doing. And if you step out of line, then you're in a lot of trouble. And, you when you hear that out there, you're paranoid without somebody saying that. There's paranoia that's going on in general. Right. So when someone comes up to you and, like, you just don't want to ruffle, it's like he just has that way of, like, saying.
Have you hung out with Rob?
Yeah,
I've never met Boston Rob. So what is he like?
Well, he's super cool to me, Yeah. Although in gameplay, I'd be like, I'm not gonna listen to your shit, bro. Like, I'd be like, yeah, right. And then on the next section, I'd be like, you tell me I can't go walk off with somebody? I'm like, listen, dude, this isn't the way you play the game.
Right.
Well, you might think that it is, right? But that's too strong. And I feel like Boston Rob is good in a sense, but really he won a season with all fans.
Right.
So it's hard. It's easy to control that.
Oh, 100%. I mean, even on a fans versus favorites season, it's like the power of returning players over newbies, especially like someone like Boston Rob, who's like one of these iconic players. I mean, this listener right now, Kyle, says Rob is a dog who can't really learn new tricks. He thought the Redemption Island strategy would work on a bunch of followers to him, but how could it work on a bunch of winners? And it is true.
It's true. That guy's exactly right. It's just you can't do that strategy with returners. I mean, people did the same mistakes like on my season of returners, where I'm like, to me, it's like if you return, Matt, like you have to change the way that you play. If you don't change, you're not gonna. You might do well or get a good edit, but you're going home, because it's like if you don't change.
Well, because everyone has seen you play. You know what I mean? Right. I think every damn dude. I tell people, Survivor, it's a blessing and a curse, because you constantly, and I'm sure you do the same thing, think of the what ifs, the scenarios.
We all do it. Every single Survivor.
And it's like years later, dude. We talked to Russell Hanson. It's like he's still bitter over the first time he played. It's like, every fucking player does that.
Yeah, this is one thing that is like all of us Survivors have in common. And I think this is why we get chosen, because we're so competitive and we're so type A in a sense, that we just cannot handle the fact that we lost. So we have to figure, and we go, and everyone talks when we get around each other as if like we all know your season. If Chelsea just would have done that and it done that, and like we don't even know what the hell you're talking about, but like everyone goes on and on. If I would have done that and I could have done that, this would have worked this way, or I should have done this. We all do the coulda, shoulda, wouldas, and like if one thing would have changed, and it probably is true. If one thing changes, it changes everything. And it's like, so there is a fine line between and that's why I don't really like so much when people say this person's really good or this person's really bad. It's like there is some luck involved. So it's like it's not like a fair game where it's like the same thing it's not like a football game where the exact measurements of the football field is the same and the same penalties and the same rules every single time. Survivor changes all the time. So like there's a little bit of luck involved and a little bit of like, unlucky for some people. When you do a swap, for example,
like tonight, there's 3 tribes.
There's like, in one way, it's bad luck for someone, and they have no control of like who's picking which buff and who's going where. Yep. So that's not really something that you have control of. And if it happens to work in your favor, great. But if it doesn't, it's like, are you a bad player, or you just had bad luck because of a switch, or these little things that happen each year? Like all of a sudden someone brings out an idle nullifier that's never even been heard of in the history of the game.
I know.
It's like, does that mean you're a bad player, or does that mean you're a good player? So it's like, it's kind of like we're all good in our own way.
I mean, like tonight, Boston Rob got screwed by the swap like he did on Marquesas. Yeah. But he was going to go home soon anyways. But like exactly what you're just saying on Survivor Caramoan, I feel like I had a great alliance, a great game going. I was a likable guy. I never once at Tribal Council was worried about my name.
Right.
I was confident. And Tribe Swap, fans versus favorites, it's 4 returnees.
Right.
3 fans. And we lost the challenge. And I'm like, well, this fucking sucks. And I go home. And it's like, what you're signing up for when you first play, but it doesn't get any easier. It's like, God, out of all fucking seasons of Survivor for me to play as a huge fan, playing fans versus favorites was not the season that I would have chose to play.
Yeah.
I would have loved, because there was people, and I've told this on their podcast before. So Tyler Fredrickson from season 30, Worlds Apart, was at my finals of casting. I would see him every day in the restaurant.
Oh, he was.
And then Jeremiah Wood from Brains, Brawn, Beauty.
Yeah.
Max Dawson from Survivor 30. So those people were all at my casting, got cut, and made it to a later season. And I tell people all the time, like, damn, man, I did make a lot of great friendships on Survivor Caramoan. Michael Snow, my #1 alliance bro. I love Michael Snow, and our friendship is amazing, along with my friendships with other people. However, I would have loved to have played an all-newbie season, because when you play returning seasons, and the beauty about this season is there's a bunch of winners that have all watched each other play, and they're not going to let someone like Boston Rob, as we saw tonight, get away with the Redemption Island, Philip Shepard, type scenario. You know what I mean?
Right. They're gonna act and listen. I'm sure the edit made it seem like, Boston Rob's in control, and poor Sophie and Sarah, they're over here, and it's like, but obviously something more was going on. Obviously there was some conversation happening, otherwise the vote wouldn't have happened the way it did, because, and neither one of them had to play the steal a vote or played her idol.
Oh, I know.
So obviously there was some conversation happening. So we just didn't get to see it.
We didn't just get to see it. So back toward the beginning of the episode, man, we see a segment like last week. It was all about Edge of Extinction, and the beautiful piece that we saw with Ethan and everybody. Right. We saw nothing from Edge of Extinction tonight. Okay, so we see Yule. He's kind of at camp. He's a guy that I think is very smart, that wasn't on my radar to be a player that I would be even necessarily interested in seeing play this season. Right. But he has proved me wrong, dude. The guy is smart. And tonight we see an emotional side of Yule where he's talking about his friendship with Jonathan Penner. And I think CBS did a really cool, paying homage to
that was super nice of them.
Jonathan Penner, and showing the clip of him and his wife that's going through this horrible disease and kind of gaining some attention. So, man, yet again, for me, props to Survivor. It's like I'm watching with my wife and my kids, and we see this clip of Penner's, wife coming out to the family visit, right? Right. And then we end up seeing a clip of her, with Jonathan, she's just can't do anything on her own. You mean the live, the live shot, not live, but the recent video. Yeah. And like my wife was telling my boys, like, kids, like that's the same woman that we just saw running out in that clip for the
Right.
family visit. And it just goes to show you, dude, life is so fragile, dude, that even with this freaking coronavirus bullshit
Right.
going on, and I think it's a little more, I usually don't get freaked out over stuff, but man, today, like the basketball tournament's being canceled.
I saw the same. Yeah, I tried to avoid the news because I don't want to get all caught. I mean, I have my own ideas of sickness and viruses and all this stuff and whatever.
Right.
I mean, and I realized to some people that it's major and it's major fear and it's a major concern. But in other ways, it's like to me, it's like I'm not going to just watch every single second and stir myself into a frenzy and get all crazy. But like I turn on ESPN thinking it's sports, and then all of a sudden they're like, "Well, we've canceled, and there no players are going to watch the NCAA tournament, and only 200 people are allowed." I'm like, what the fuck? There would be 2,000 or 200. But I mean, if you fucking got it, you got it. I mean,
right?
Like if you got the flu, if you got the cold, there's fucking 10,000 people that are getting it. I mean, every day. I mean, I've been in airplanes where people are sneezing and coughing, and like I don't want to get their shit, but you get their shit, and
Yeah, and you travel all the time, right? You're still an active photographer,
right? And I'm like, I understand that the coronavirus is killing some people, right? But it's not killing everybody.
No, and
it's not like, and people. I think it's one of those where it's like, it's when something gets to be bigger than what you think it is. It's like, and I use this as an example. When you hear a tweet from somebody that's negative, any one of us survivors, that guy's an asshole, or this guy's, or they get personal. He's a real fucking douchebag, and his family sucks, or whatever. You're like, you don't even know my family.
Yeah, right.
Guess how many people tweeted that? One.
Yeah, right.
We take it as if 1,000 people tweeted it, and we're like, what? And so we get all fired up, like, I don't want to take your shit. So like people get mad over one person's tweet, or say 5 people say it. Right. 5 out of millions and millions of people, and you somehow think it's bigger than what it is. It's only one person, one 15-year-old kid in his basement in fucking Belgium that said that shit. It's not fucking 1,000, 100,000 people. So in the same way, coronavirus, I know it's bad, but it's like people, like, if you're just going to focus only on that and who's out of toilet paper and who's out of this and what am I going to get sick? It's like, oh my God, like really? Like I'm like, you know what? I had to shut it up.
Dude, it's mad. I do know that I did see something today that Survivor is postponing the filming of 41 and 42, which is crazy. But listen here, listeners. Right now, you can earn money on Frenemies Challenge. Frenemies Challenge is the only way to get rewarded by being able to predict what happens on your favorite reality TV shows. It's so easy, too. I play Frenemies trivia games every morning right before checking Instagram and rolling out of bed. A few taps, and I'm entered to win prizes up to $2,000. It's totally free to play, and when you win, you get the prize instantly. Where has Frenemies been all this time for reality TV? Some of your favorite former contestants write the trivia questions, a.k.a. Jonny Fairplay does that for Survivor. So check in with the Frenemies leaderboard to compare scores with your friends and other fans. A prize pool that is so spread out that lots of people become winners in each contest. Thousands of dollars a day in prizes. Finally, an app that rewards your reality television addiction. There's no other app like it on the planet. None, not even close. That's Frenemies, Frenemies Challenge. I have the app. I love playing along with it. You can download it right now in the App Store or Google Play today and play these trivia games like the reality TV guru you are. Again, that's Frenemies, Frenemies in the Apple app and Google Play stores. So, Troyzan, it's Drop Your Buffs time. And this is...
I hate this part because I've done it. I've had to do it twice.
I have too, dude. And Rob even says, this is how, this swap screwed him, and which is almost like a foreshadowing that Rob's going to go home. And I was saying, I feel your pain, brother, because it screwed me too. So we go from 2 to 3 tribes. Okay. Right. So we got the Sele tribe now, which is Poverty, Wendell, Nick, Yule, and Michelle. And we see
Right.
Michelle
Right.
talking about, I'm on an island with my boyfriend.
I know. It's been funny because when we went to Fiji, she talked about Wendell, and they were kind of going through some stuff. He said, "You guys dating?" Or what? She goes, "No, not anymore. It's just kind of and she kind of like blew it off like it's a pain in the ass and it's not going to work and this and that. So like when they got called, I'm like, "You're going to end up on an island with that guy. It's going to be classic." Because like if I showed up and an ex was out there, I'd be like, depending on who broke up with who or how the relationship was, it would be definitely weird.
But do you think that that's an advantage or a disadvantage?
I think it's a disadvantage because if obviously people know, and Michelle's not hiding it to poverty, she's like, we dated, and everyone else on the island, I'm sure everyone knows. Yeah. So it's kind of like, well, they dated. I mean, then they're close. So my thing would be, are they faking as if they don't like each other or that they didn't work? They're probably if they know each other,
right? And
they knew each other, then it means they're close, and they're not just close; they're really close. You know what I mean? Like you dated. Right. I mean, you went out. You're a step away. I mean, it's like you're playing with your brother or sister or wife. So it's like, I don't know. I guess it's a touchy situation. I guess it all depends on how much the person believes your story. Like, does poverty really believe Michelle? As it like, he thought he was all that, and I don't really.
I saw that, which was crazy. Do you like? I've hung out with Wendell on multiple occasions. He's always been cool as fuck to me. Dude.
Yeah,
like,
me too.
And I never got a vibe. I'm a pretty confident dude, though, right? Like I got my own badass shit going on in my life. Yeah. Besides Survivor, right? So without Survivor, I still do cool shit. Without Survivor, you still do cool shit, right?
Right.
But I've never gotten the cocky, I'm the shit vibe from Wendell. He's always just been fucking cool and like you, like a fan of Survivor and like, oh my God, dude, Matt, it's great to meet you and blah, blah, blah. But she's calling him out big time. Like,
yeah, I know. So maybe that's part of her strategy. And if it is, hey, so you know what? Then I'll props to her because I feel bad for Michelle because she doesn't get a lot of like, oh wow, you were a good winner, or you deserve to win, or like everyone's like she shouldn't have won, and all this stuff. And in my mind, you know what? It does. If you win, you win. It doesn't matter. There's no like extra excuses, or you got this jury or that, or this you shouldn't have worked or whatever. Just like Russell Hantz. Guess what, buddy? You didn't win. So
right.
You didn't win. I mean,
it is what it is.
It is what it is. Like you're not a winner. You didn't do what it took, whatever that means.
Yeah. No, and no doubt.
If you did win, then you went. But Michelle never got a lot of credit, so I feel like she's kind of like redeeming herself a little bit. I feel like in this season,
she said multiple times, Troyzan, she's got on the defensive side, saying. She said this in confessionals and with conversations in previous episodes this season of how, people didn't respect my game, but listen, I'm here to change it. I think she's playing a great game so far. I think the scene we see of her and Poverty talking about Wendell, I mean, I don't put it past Michelle to do whatever it takes. Big moves to win this game. The women are playing a good game, dude.
I don't either. I mean, and she's not just talking to Slouch. She's talking to Poverty, who's privy and smart and savvy and all of it. I mean, so she's just talking straight up girls talk,
Oh, yeah.
And I got a feeling that Poverty's going, if she says he's like, he thinks he's all that or he's a jerky, then well, maybe he is. I don't know in her mind. So if that's part of her strategy, great. If it isn't, I mean. It's a tough situation. If I was out there with an ex, I'd be like, how am I going to convince these people that I'm not playing with this person? And that would be like the real truth.
Oh, 100%.
So with when you're playing with an all winners, or even to me, like if you play with an all returners season, returners know enough to where what's coming out of your mouth really the truth, or is it 50% of the truth? Like, you're never really trusting anybody's like words. You're just not. It's like a lot of times the conversations they probably don't show up, but the conversations are like this. So Matt, what do you think? How's it? What do you think? How's it going? And you're like, well, I don't know. What do you think? I'm like, I don't know. What do you think? It's like no one wants to fucking say nothing. No one wants to like, well, I think that Tony's this. It's like, because you're just waiting for that one little opening,
right?
Where you agree on something like, I don't trust Tony. You're like, you don't? I don't either. Okay, good. But
Right.
it takes a lot to get it out of people because no one they plays their cards really close to themselves, and they just don't want to say even one word because one word might blow it. You might be with Tony.
Yeah.
And if I say something bad about Tony, then you're going to go back to Tony. So I'm like, so what do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know. It's fucking crazy, dude.
Yeah.
So that's the new Sele tribe. To call now is Jeremy, Denise, Sandra, Kim, and Tony. And so, man, you played with quite a few people on this tribe.
Yeah. I played with like 3 on that tribe.
So Kim, okay, so prior to this episode, which we actually saw quite a few confessionals and clips of Kim, we have not seen much of Kim prior to this episode as far as gameplay and really a big character and
hardly anything. I mean,
exactly.
Really.
And so I've heard things online and I talked to Fairplay and stuff. It's like, wow, did was Kim this great winner based off of playing on a season like One World, which a lot of people, the things you and Tarzan and the family visit when his wife comes out there,
right.
Kim Spradlin. There's a few
we played with
highlights,
kooks though,
but a lot of people hate on your first season.
Oh,
right?
100%, because they just feel like we played with a bunch of idiots, and it wasn't so much idiots. It was actually we played with a lot of people that were recruited.
Yeah,
and a lot of people on my cast just didn't know the game of Survivor. Yeah. I mean, the majority of the girls like that played with Kim were Kat was got off of she was taken off online. She was found like in a bar.
Yeah, right.
Sabrina Thompson, they were looking for another Sabrina Thompson who applied, and they found Sabrina Thompson online and saw her talking. We like this Sabrina Thompson. So she didn't really know the game. Alicia didn't know the game.
Right.
Christina Cha didn't really know the game that well. So it's like she's playing with people that where they're like, Kim, what do we do? What do we do? And just follow. It was easy for her to kind of go through. Like, I'm not saying like I'm not giving her credit because she won, because like a lot of people think she's one of the better winners of all time. But now people are probably going like, well, look who she played with now.
That's what people are saying. So my thing is so they think, oh, she's a great winner, but she played with a bunch of stupid players that were recruits, right, on One World. However, we are finally tonight seeing glimpses and clips of Kim really focusing in, targeting in strategy. She's not an emotional player. She seems like calm.
Yeah, well, that's the way she is in general on the outside. She's like very calm and doesn't really go into like rocking the boat. And she's never like, this is what we're going to do. She waits for someone to say, what do you want to do? Or what do you think? And then she'll get, because she'll be like, you'll come up to her and she'll go, thoughts?
Yeah.
And you're like, I guess I have to answer. Just thoughts? Like she's like a psychiatrist or a psychologist. She's just sitting there on her thing, like, waiting. So talk to me, Troy.
Yeah.
And then you just spill all your stuff. And that's what she did in her first season.
Yeah.
And she kind of does that now, like, but she's playing so low key. Like, I feel like almost in this season, you got to give a little, you got to take the bull by its horns a little bit more.
Right. So you think you think she's not kind of going for it, like, just like,
and she's in a different headspace. She was completely single last time, just got out of like a marriage, she divorced. She's just ready to go off and do the adventure, play Survivor, and backstab and lie and cheat.
Right.
Now she's got like 3 kids at home, and she's just like, I think her brain is kind of over there too. And you can't have your brain in another spot playing Survivor. You just can't. You know how it is. You got to be in it 24 hours a day.
You got to be. Yeah, it's a fast.
You can let your guard down a little bit when there's like a family visit or something, and then you kind of like lose your shit in those moments. But like for the most part, if you want to, this is if you want to continue to go further in the game, you've got to stay in the game almost all the time. And that's, I tell people all the time, they're like, "What's the hardest part?" It's just you get used to being hungry, and you get used to sleeping on no sleep and tired, and challenges. You get that's all. That part you kind of get used to. The part is weird, and you never do it in your life. Is like strategizing or wondering what somebody's doing 24 hours a day. Like always wondering, like when I wake up, what do I need to do to figure out that I'm still going to stay in this game? Or if I let my guard down, it's like always one of those things like, you hear it like just when you think you're safe, well, you're not. And especially in this returning season, there are moments where I'm like, oh, I feel pretty good. I got these 6 people. I'm feeling really good. And then you walk off by yourself and you say, whenever I hear those words and whenever I felt like I heard someone saying it, and now I feel safe, I'm not. And sure enough, I wasn't. Yeah. So your intuition comes into, so that's the hardest part, just continually going like through the people that you're with or the people that you're not with and that you've got to go speak to because you never know down the road. It's like, you got to speak to your enemies more than the people that you're with, and you don't even want to, and you don't want to speak to them. Some people that you just can't stand, and you're like, oh my God, I got to go talk to them because you just never know. Right. And that's the hardest part. And I think that's the hardest part now for these winners. Some of these winners had a kind of a breeze season. Mm-hmm. And so because they kind of breezed through and then they won in a sense, and then everything went their way. Right. Everything. Right. If it didn't go their way, they wouldn't have won. Now all of a sudden things aren't going their way, and it's their first experience of this. Yeah. Like, what do? I fucking never felt this before. I mean, Kim never felt isolated before. Like, no one was going to even speak to me. And she just like, and part of me is kind of like, no, you did that to me, and I was
taste your own medicine.
That's kind of like what goes around comes around. Because like I was sad. There was moments like I was by myself a lot. Like it was basically. I mean, there was one episode called Troyzan versus everyone. And I'm like, I'm alone here, and they were kind of being a little bit, sarcastic and kind of like cocky and just didn't care whether you were feeling sad or lonely or, there's a letter from your brother there, but guess what? You're not going to get it because you're not going to, and then, like, oh, now you're starting to,
So you're like, Kim. Like,
I'm kind of like, Kim, now you're feeling what I felt.
Oh yeah. So
you were like the queen for all the years, and everything's going perfect, and that silver spoon, and you won fan favorite even, and all this stuff, and you're the best player of all time. And now,
it's a different story.
It's a different story.
It is. And then we see the third tribe, which is the Yara tribe, the green tribe. We have Boston Rob, Adam, Ben, Sophie, and Sarah. Wow, what a group of people.
Yeah.
It's that was just proves that a swap can either put you in a good position or a bad position, because Boston Rob and other people don't seem too stoked on this. But we saw, Nick, he was pretty excited about being with Wendell and and Michelle, because Nick is friends with, some of those people outside the game. And so the 3 tribe, are you a fan of the 3 tribe swap type deal?
To watch it normally, no, because when I saw it was going to be the three tribe swap, I'm like, oh God. And then they got Extinction Island, and like by the time they're going to show each island, there's going to be like not enough time to really show it. And I think they did an excellent job of really showing each tribe on each island and actually what was really going on. I'm like, because I kept looking at my clock thinking like, by the time they're going to show all this, it's going to be like, it's going to be 8:50, and then it's going to be a quick challenge and boom. But like, I don't mind it, because they showed enough to where everyone kind of got an idea what's going on in the camp, or at least the storylines that they want you to follow in each camp. There's a storyline in each camp, and we got to see it. And I actually, I enjoyed it. I'm like, even with when I saw, Sophie and Sarah, I'm like, okay, I know Sarah very well, and she can be on the bottom, and she's not going to let it get to her.
I love Sarah, dude. And I know you got to watch a couple weeks ago, maybe with her. Didn't you get to do it?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did a viewing. She came here. Her husband does this CrossFit like World Games. He's like super buff guy and fit as hell. And so it was in Miami, and she goes, "Hey, I'm coming to Miami. Can we get together?" So we got together. It was me, Dr. Mike, Michaela from season 23.
Yeah.
And who else? Sebastian and Jenna from Ghost Island.
Yep.
Jesse from Africa. There was a bunch of whoever's in South Florida, and it was like, it must have been, I don't know, 5 or 6 of us. Michelle actually was going to come down too. Something happened.
Yeah.
So we did the viewing, but we did the viewing, I think it was the 2nd episode. So that was fun.
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
Yeah, I still talk to Sarah almost like every week, like since our season ended. I mean, we were super close, and when she went out, I'm like, she's asking me.
She's a badass.
She is. She's a badass, and she's very good socially. She's better than people think that. Somewhat for some reason, the way they edit her, they don't make her look as funny as she is. She's funny as she's really funny. I mean, she's fucking hilarious. I mean, she says some funny shit, and she has a good way of joking around and getting close to you in that way. And it's like they kind of showed it tonight, when she's like, "Hey, you need a hug, man," with Yule, and that's Sarah, she really is like, she's sympathetic. She feels people, even though she's a cop. She's really. I think Sarah's one of the best players, honestly. Like I played with her. I know her. I think I put her right up there.
Right up there. And I can't wait to meet her, dude. I'm really, that's one person I've never met. And, we've exchanged social media messages.
She's great. You're going to find out that you're going to be like, you're way fucking funnier than I thought you were.
Fuck yeah. I love it. One other funny, man, it's like day 12. And, Jeremy, we see a clip of him going over to the camp that Wendell built. Wendell's a furniture builder. Even in his first season, dude, it's like he's got swings and this and that.
Right.
And it's like
full bar.
Oh, yeah. Wendell dominates. Wendell dominates on the camp life, man. And, Jeremy and Kim are talking, and Kim kind of knows that she's kind of on the outs, and Jeremy is very smart, and he kind of is real intuitive on seeing places where he can kind of maneuver in his game, And it's like Jeremy, I think, is a guy that could win this game. He's like not like a Tony or like a super, boisterous character that is, you know what I mean? But that's why he's so good. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and, he's a little more level-headed, low-key, in a sense, even keel to me, and kind of like, even when he's, kind of figured out that Kim was kind of probably not as tight with Tony and Sandra as they probably should be because they're coming from the same tribe. He kind of figured that out. Kim probably gave him that vibe, but Kim's that way too. Kim will reach out and play her cards if she doesn't think. If for some reason she's thinking like, well, I came from the same tribe as Tony and Sandra, but I don't know if I really trust them down the road thing. She's going to look around.
Right.
And that's exactly what she did. And at least that's what they showed, and that's Kim though. I mean, she's going to look for an out with one and in with others.
So I got a question for you. So we've seen this season that there are a lot of starstruck players, right? They're like, oh my God, I watch you on, you're a legend, right? So we see a clip where, Yule tells Poverty, my wife is a big fan, right? And then we see Nick like, you were my high school crush. And we like, so I love Survivor. I'm a Survivor fan. But if I was playing in an all returnee season, I've met a lot of these people at charity events. I would hope that I would come in with more confidence than being like, oh my God, you're Richard Hatch or you're Russell Hantz or whatever the case may be, it surprises me that the level of starstruckness that we're seeing.
Fanboy, fangirling.
Yeah, because you're a fan.
Yeah, I'm a fan.
And when you play Game Changers, though, dude, like, how was that for you? Were you just
I walked in. I don't know. Maybe it's I think I attribute it a little bit to my job because I have met like famous athletes, and some. I mean, I know some. I mean, I've worked with some famous models. People don't know them, but I mean, they're fairly famous. Yeah, so I've worked with some people. I mean, I've met, Tiger Woods, Brett Favre. I mean, Muhammad Ali, for Christ's sake. So I feel like I've met these people, and I kind of have not like been oh my God, because I was oh my God, like there's Muhammad Ali standing there, and he was like my idol. But once you start to talk to people, you realize this person is, in a sense, just like me. They put on their own fucking socks and shoes. They take a shower in the same kind of shower I take. They don't take some fucking, they don't.
Oh, they still wipe their ass with toilet paper.
I'm just saying, dude. Yeah. They still get sick and throw up, just like me. They're not some fucking alien. Yeah. So part of me is like, when I went back to Game Changers, I saw Tony sitting there, Ponderosa. I saw Malcolm, Ozzy, Suri, all these names, like. In my interviews, I'm like, oh my God, I'm playing with these people. That's a big deal, But I never was I never was like, oh my God. Yeah,
you never went in a confessional like, oh my God, I'm playing with Suri. Yeah, you just never. Troyzan is just playing Troyzan's game.
Full on, and I even was like, even when the first time I had like a connection with Tony, like at the water, I see him like digging a hole over by the water where all fucking he's got leaves and shit. I'm go. What the hell are you doing, Tony? Like I know you're fucking doing something. You're up to something no good. And he's like, and then he gives me some bullshit story. I'm like, this guy is so full of shit. I can read right through him. And this is supposed to be Tony, one of the best of all time. And that moment, I'm like, I'm not starstruck. You're just another schmo out here playing Survivor.
What I think, Troy,
just like me.
I think what Tony Vlachos was doing is manscaping, dude. Because right now, if you're listening to this podcast, I want you to take a second and look down. When was the last time you shaved your junk? It's been a while. Don't lie, Troyzan. Let's take to thank our sponsor, Manscaped, for holding you accountable to get rid of the funk and shave your junk. Manscaped is the only men's brand dedicated to below the waist grooming and hygiene. All right. Manscaped is forever changing the grooming game with the Perfect Package 3.0 Essentials Kit. Now, Troyzan, I may have a long, I have a long dreadlock beard that's probably got coronavirus fucking fibers in it.
I hope you're not growing that downstairs because it's
I'm not.
The wife would be like, "Hey, bro, what's?"
No, I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of fucking body hair, dude. And that's why Manscaped is forever changing the grooming game with the Perfect Package 3.0.
I think that's a good, I think the women probably appreciate the little Manscaped,
They do. And it's the third generation trimmer that you can trim everything. Features cutting edge ceramic blade to prevent manscaping accidents because Troyzan, millions of balls are about to be nick free.
Yeah. You don't need the old nick on the nards.
No, because it'll bleed like crazy. And of course, let's not forget about the crop preserver and anti-chafing ball deodorant and moisturizer.
Jesus.
You put deodorant on your armpits, right? Why don't you put deodorant on the smellest part of Tony Vlachos' body, his ball sack? And for a limited time, subscribers get not one, but 2 free gifts, the Shed travel bag, $39 value, and the patented high-performance anti-chafing Manscaped boxer briefs. You can get 20% off and free shipping with promo code SURVIVOR. They love that when we say that at manscaped.com. Do yourself a favor. Always use the right tools for the job. Tony Vlachos, I guarantee you manscaped prior to going out on Survivor. and I know all the women.
100%, because he's all bald up here, so why not? He probably scaped it. I'm sure
he
scaped the nards, and they're smooth as it gets, man. It's like
Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. So, dude, we go to day 14, immunity challenge. And this is a classic survivor challenge. You go kind of,
Right.
you go over the over and under obstacle. You got a ladder to a net landing, and then you throw bean bags. And basically the first two tribes to get through this challenge are immune. And the final one goes to tribal council. And this is a tower challenge. Like, you cannot repeat the colors. It's really it's basic. But the thing is that our listeners and people that watch Survivor on TV, sometimes these challenges are a lot harder than they seem.
Well, they're a lot longer than what you see as well. I mean,
exactly.
They might have been out there an hour.
Right.
Hour and a half. Who knows? Yeah. I mean, they speed stuff up. They cut a lot of stuff out on certain challenges as well.
They do.
They've done that on 4 or 5 of the challenges that I was in.
Yeah.
I mean, even
long as shit.
Yeah, like they'll make it look like you take coconuts in a slingshot and you got to hit out a target of 9, squares or whatever.
Yeah, right.
And so they'll say the first one to knock out all 9 while you're there.
Right.
On the show, they'll cut it down to whoever knocks out 3 in a row because they don't have time to show you that they just don't. So with this puzzle, especially puzzles.
Right.
And that one looks like it could be. They were like, oh, just match up the colors, and then it's like, shit. There's colors on 6 sides.
Yeah.
So you're you're not just looking at one. That puzzles are always the ones where, to me, it's like you can be a half an hour behind. You catch up and do a puzzle if you're good.
100%. And we see Wendell and Parvati win. Sele wins. And then Jeremy and Sandra get second.
Right.
And then Adam and Sophie, they were in the lead originally, but lost. But I tell you what, dude, there's another thing that's really cool. And I don't know if you know this, but we are sponsored by a company called Perplexers Puzzles, Troyzan. And I have one over here behind me. They make replica Survivor puzzles. And awesome. I know, so they're miniature, but they're so cool. So, basically, any fool can climb a wall or crawl through sand. But as every Survivor fan knows, challenges are won or lost on the puzzle, as you 100%. Just said. And the most successful players are puzzle masters. You can be one too. Perplexers Puzzles creates handmade miniature replicas of many of Survivor's greatest and most challenging puzzles. Find out if you have what it takes by visiting Perplexers Puzzles Etsy store or visiting survivorpuzzle.com. You can use promo code promo code Fairplay for 10% discount. They sent me one, dude, and I need
to get a hold of this place because honestly, I made my own puzzles.
Yes.
At home before I went out on Game Changers. I actually went online.
Yeah.
Saw the tree puzzle or the fire, and actually took a picture of it, pasted the picture on a piece of foam cord, cut the puzzle, and to do exactly whatever this guy's doing.
This dude, I think what he does is he's crazy. He 3D prints.
That's awesome.
It's right behind me. I'm going to go grab it. Right, I'm going to show you. Hold on. So Troyzan, it's really cool. So
I need to get one of these. A few of these puzzles.
Hit this guy up on Instagram. So it comes in like this little bag, right? And then you have the puzzle pieces come in this little bag. Right. And what it is, it's small. Okay, it's not large, but
it's still the same. You're still putting together pieces. Yeah.
So here's a fire puzzle. So
I think that puzzle. I actually think I probably.
It's literally like
that's the puzzle I fucking copied. The exact fucking puzzle. Really? Oh my god!
It's 3D printed, right? So you literally, my kids and my son Ryder, who loves Survivor and he's a puzzle genius. You start out with this board. You put the first piece on, and then you're like, there's like 20. It's a miniature replica, and dude, it is so fun.
That's the one that Cochran won that one.
I believe so.
It is for either first or second. I don't know what season, but I'm almost sure that's the one that Cochran won towards the end. That's the one, that exact puzzle. I copied that puzzle. I have that but it's like 3 feet by 3 feet. And I physically cut it out with an X-Acto blade so that I could and practice that puzzle.
Right. Well, this Perplexers puzzles, dude, they make a whole bunch of different ones.
That's awesome.
And I tell you what, it's like if you have a Survivor party or, Johnny brings them to his viewing parties, his live events, and you can literally play these puzzles with other, players. So it's fucking awesome. And the other thing that's awesome is right now, every time I do a podcast, dude, I swear to God, I have a few beers, maybe two beers, just have a couple beers. And I end up having to piss in the middle of the podcast. So right now,
are you pissing right now?
I'm pissing right now. I'm pissing in what's called a little John, and they're not as
like we're out on the island. Like, we just go fucking walk over there and you piss. That's what I love about the island. Just go piss wherever.
Oh, dude, it's like our podcast. We keep it real. And that's the beauty
as long as you don't take an aqua dump. Then
oh, no, I'm not going to take an aqua dump. But so we see this challenge, dude. And, we go back. Sophie, who, never was kind of on my radar again. She feels vulnerable. But Sophie's a pretty damn smart player.
She seems really smart to me. Like I mean,
have you met Sophie before?
No, I've never met her. I want to meet her now. I want to meet her because I'm more interested in her. I mean, her first season, I was kind of like, yeah, I watched, but I just really paid a lot of attention to her and her win. But now, I mean, there's something about her that she's super smart and she's aware of things. And to me, a person like that even becomes you're gonna think that is weird, but it's super sexy to me when someone's like that smart and that kind of and she's out on Survivor. She's kind of looking a little scraggly. I don't know.
And she's usually not she's not you deal with sexy women all the time, but she was never like, oh my God, Sophie's sexy. But I know what you're saying on the show. She was more like the nerdy Cochran style. Just a brainiac.
I'm not saying that in any girls can only be sexy. She's smart and smart, sexy at the same time, and she just seems like an altogether good package. And I'd like to meet her just because I think she's cool. I mean, I like the way she's playing.
So my question is, we end up seeing, everyone's kind of going idol crazy at this camp, right?
Right.
Boston Rob is like, I don't know how to do this.
Yeah, that seems weird to me.
Idol thing. It does too. So Sophie ends up finding it. She ends up giving Officer Sarah the other half of it. Now,
I love that she just shoves it right in her panties instantaneously.
I do too.
I do too. That was amazing. That's another reason why I'm like, I like that. So
yeah, I do. and then we see Boston Rob's saying everyone emptied their pockets out, and she doesn't have it in her pocket, so she's playing it.
Well, she's got it in a special pocket.
She does. So we see, we know Sarah has the steal a vote, and now Sophie, they have this idol. Okay.
Right.
And we go back to camp and Boston Rob and Adam Klein and Ben kind of walk off, and they've had their differences, but they're like, hey, handshake bro deal. We're gonna stick together. Us three, them two,
right? And
we're gonna go do this buddy system thing around camp and not let anyone walk off. He's trying to pull the same thing he did on Redemption Island.
I know,
and it ends up,
that a little bit on Heroes versus Villains too.
Yeah, bit. I don't get it, man. So they go back to camp, and it's like people are actually sitting there not doing anything. And I told my wife, I'm like, damn, whatever people say about Boston Rob, this dude has some sort of just really manipulative powers about him. You know what I mean?
Or it could be also he's playing with Ben and Adam, who've only played once.
True.
And so and they're both fans. Adam's a huge fan, super fan. So he's going, I'm playing with Boston Rob, who's been out here 5 times. I'm not going to stir up any trouble with Boston. I don't want him going after me. Because I was kind of, in some ways, when I was out on Game Changer, I'm like, I don't want Tony to mention my name in any fashion at all. I don't want to upset that guy. And then I also was like, I don't want to upset, whoever, like Sari, who's been there 4 times.
Yeah.
So I was not afraid of him, but I also was like, that's probably what Adam's doing with Rob.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to say nothing. I'm not going to do nothing. If I can get rid of him in a silent mode, I'm going to do it.
And that's what we end up seeing, dude. It's like Boston Rob. He goes home at Tribal Council, and you see, Boston Rob at Tribal Council told Jeff Probst, hey, I wrote down this dude's name. And then Ben saying, I wrote down this dude. There's no hiding here in Winners at War. These are all players.
Right.
Shit's out on the table. And you see the girls who one's got, they have an idol and a steal of it. They didn't have to do anything. It's like Boston Rob goes home, and then we see in the previews for next week, it's like everyone's hanging out having a good time because the asshole is gone. And I don't know Boston Rob. Jonny Fairplay, he does not like Boston Rob.
Some people don't like him at all because they think he's all whatever. So I think some stuff comes from jealousy because he has played Survivor a lot, and he is kind of like the Survivor,
Well, he had a fucking statue made.
I'm just saying, life has been Survivor. He's always been only nice to me. He's been really, I can't say anything bad personally about Rob. He's been great.
But has any Survivor ever been a dick to you, Troyzan? You're like one of the coolest. Like, you're like me. No. Like, I feel like you and I, like, dude, I swear, I would so love to have like me and you and Johnny and Lex Vandenberg and Big Tom. Because we went out to Big Tom's, dude, last summer on July 4th. And dude, Lex is one of my dear friends. Have you met Lex before?
No, 100%. Yeah. Like, I've talked to Lex was one of the first guys I met. I actually met him on a podcast because when I played my first season, I would listen to a podcast that he would do with Evil Dick and Jerry Manthe and all, and they would talk about me. Yeah. And they didn't realize I was listening. And then I came in like the very last episode. I wasn't supposed to because I was still on the show.
Oh yeah.
And Jerry's like, oh, come on, what are they gonna do? And so I came on, and Lex like, oh my God, you're on it. And he was like, we started to talk. He goes, you're very similar to me. He goes, we're about the same age. And this, that. So I got along with him right off the bat. And then we've actually spoke on the phone.
Dude, Lex is so dope. Like, when I played, it's like you do these stupid things like, pre-game interviews. What player would you play like? I was like, Lex, and I've always been, and that's the beauty of Survivor. It's like, as a fan, we get to see these players and we become friends. Like, dude, like I'm on a podcast right now with fucking Troyzan or whoever, you know what I'm saying? It's like, it's fucking cool, man. And I appreciate, for one, you taking the time, because I know you get up at the ass crack of dawn. So do you shoot photos all the time, Troyzan?
Well, it comes and goes. Sometimes it's like, it'll be 3-4 days in a row, and then I won't do anything for a month. So you're used to shooting the most beautiful women on the planet. Yeah, I have shot some of the most beautiful women. Yeah.
So honestly, you don't have a problem getting boners, but if you do have a problem getting boners, Jonny Fairplay's favorite sponsor of our podcast.
Here we go.
Oh yeah, the final fucking plug I gotta do, dude, for this podcast before I let you go.
The boner field
is Blue Chew. Remember the days when you were always ready to go? You can increase your performance with that extra confidence in bed, which I know Troyzan doesn't even fucking need this, but BlueChew.com, that's blue like the color blue. It brings you the first chewable with the same FDA-approved active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis. So they work anytime, day or night, even on a full stomach, and they're chewable. They work twice as fast as a pill. You can be ready whenever the opportunity arises. But you don't need to, because if you're shooting photos of swimsuit models, dude, you don't be walking around with the damn boner hanging out of your pants. But
I'll take the blue when the camera goes down. I'll pop a Blue Chew afterwards.
Dude, but Blue Chew is prescribed online. It ships straight to your door in a discreet package. So no in-person doctor visits, no waiting in the pharmacy, no awkwardness. They're made in the USA, and since Blue Chew ships, direct, they're cheaper than a pharmacy. Right now, use promo code SURVIVOR. Just pay $5 shipping at BlueChew.com. It's free. $5 shipping. That's BlueChew.com. Promo code SURVIVOR. Troyzan, literally, dude, it's an honor to have you.
Well,
It's like last week we had Sex Dr. Mike and Russell Hans was in the chat. Russell Hans ends up joining in, and we had Richard Hatch on. And to have someone like you who's played with a lot of these players to give us insight on Kim and Officer Sarah and other players, it's great. And I'm loving this season because the last few seasons, man, I mean, no offense to the players because I love everyone I meet, right? But man, last season I just fucking hated. I had to do a podcast about it with Jonny, and I'm like,
what do they call it? The last one? What they call
Island of the Idols? And you had the
Island of the Idols.
You had the whole Me Too movement.
The Island of the Idols. Yeah, see that? Yeah, that whole thing.
It just was a fucking black cloud over Survivor, dude. And it's it was a serious. It was, you know, I'm not downplaying the severity and the seriousness of sexual harassment, etc. That I like.
Well, I got some inside scoop on that whole thing from the players and the people that were
from
there.
Like Dan. Well, Jonny is
just in general. Like I'm not going to say anything here, but I mean, what we saw wasn't the whole story. Like,
no, I agree. And Johnny's talked, like I said, we've talked about this on the podcast before. I don't want to get into it, but yes, it was a clusterfuck, and I'm happy that
it didn't need to even be. It didn't even need to get on the air. Any of that, like, had nothing to do with it. You know how they can edit anything that they want.
It was terrible, and it really put a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths over Survivor.
Oh, yeah. A lot of people are like, I don't want to watch again and this and that and blah, blah, blah. And to me, like, the Island of the Idols had nothing to do with, like, the game. Like, and it wasn't really even affecting the game in a sense. Like, this Island of the Idols thing. It's like weird.
It wasn't. But like, I tell you what.
I mean, you know what? They got to come up with something every. So the producers sit around and they got, you know, like, hey, you know what? They rolled the dice. You know, it didn't work. I mean, I think they roll the dice every year trying to see, like, what can we do to keep our fans going. And people, as much as they complain or as much as even past survivors, this and that, and they say that the viewership's gone down. Well, it's only gone down because people watch TV in different ways.
Yeah, right.
You know, but guess what? They must be doing something correct. It's probably been on for fucking 20 years. So they're doing so whatever they have decided to do to change the game or this and that. And as much as I don't like some of the changes, I'm an old school. I want to just play old school Survivor. Mm-hmm. Maybe it wouldn't have lasted if they never came out with different idols or different nullifiers or different steal a vote or different themes of stuff, you know, because maybe that's getting the few million more people to watch, like the young kids that like didn't watch like 10 years ago. Now all of a sudden we got a big young crowd that comes in and say, "Oh, I watched Troyzan on One Roll. It's fucking fantastic!" Like,
well, exactly. Like, really? So I mean, that's a perfect example, Troyzan, because like I started rewatching like Survivor Africa because a lot of survivors come through my town for events. Right. So I got, you know, legendary players staying at my house and shit. And my boys get to meet these players, like fucking, you know, everyone from Big Tom and Lex to Keith Nail, Michelle Fitzgerald, Jervis, you know, all kinds of people have been at my house.
You're Cincinnati. You're Cincinnati?
Yeah, Cincinnati, Ohio. So the thing is, man, is like I started watching Survivor Africa, which that's what got me in love with the game. But my boys who are young would probably much rather see a new school style of gameplay because they're so used to fast, video games and social media, and I want stuff right now. Dad, I want to download this new game immediately. So, props to Survivor. No matter what haters say, the show that we love has been on for 20 years, 40 seasons. We're getting ready to, go to 41 and 42. So before I let you go, Troyzan, how many times, I'm curious, did you apply before you got cast on One World?
I applied for 11 solid years. So 22, twice a year for 11 years. I watched season 1 and lost my shit. I was like, I saw Richard Hatch and I, you know, they did a promo video thing where like, you know, the music came on and then he says, whoa, yo, and then the guys are swimming and then, you know, Richard and then it's like Joel and then BB and then like, fucking what the, like, what's this show?
Yeah.
And then I just, you know, they showed him like starving and just going, I was just mesmerized on episode 1. I'm like, well, okay, whatever it takes, I need to see if I can get on and do this. Are they gonna do a second season?
Yeah,
I didn't even know it was just like a one-off thing.
Yeah,
and I'm like, so I put in a videotape. I found out where you can do it. This is way before, like, I think there wasn't even internet. It was like,
right before
the internet. It was
yeah.
the year 2000.
Yeah.
So you got to send in like a VHS tape, like a fucking, you know. And so I had some buddy of mine, you know, said, listen, I'm just gonna go in the backyard, and I had like adopted like a family of marmoset monkeys. Yeah. So I'm like, let's go back to with the monkeys. I'll do some stuff with them. And then I'm going to jump in the pool. I'm going to climb a coconut tree, just whatever crazy shit. And I got like a call back.
Yeah. This was early on. You got a call back.
Like for Africa. So
you did?
Holy
fuck.
Yeah. I teased, Lex teases me, goes, I probably took your spot.
Yeah,
I said, no, well, you're more tattoo kind of like rocker guy. I'm like, I'm more like laid back island guy. Like, I don't know if he took my spot. But we jokes about it. So that was like, yeah. So I was like, I got a call for like, well, like back in the day, they used to do these semifinal things where like they would go to each big city and see like 20 people.
Yeah.
So that I went through that process like probably 5 or 6 times. I got called Africa, the Amazon, then one after the Amazon, and then Guatemala. I got called to be a finalist. They flew me out to LA. I'm like, I'm in Guatemala, season 11. I'm like, you know, and I didn't make that one. I'm like, oh my god! And I just was like, you got to be shitting me.
How in the hell did that happen? That's not. I
was like, how did I go to the finals? And I'm in the finals. I'm like, this was finally it, because this was after like 6 years of trying.
And you did you at the finals? You went to the meeting with Jeff Probst and shit. Like,
yeah. I mean, it's like Jeff Probst and like 20 producers, and you walk in the room, and I was like, just kind of like, what the? And they just start firing us questions, and then I didn't realize at the time they didn't care what my answers were. They just cared if I was like, you know, jacked up and like this type A, wacky enough person to play. And I think I don't know. I feel like whatever mistakes I made. And finally, I got called again. I was like 11 years late. Like, I got called for the finals, and they said after that, they said, well, you've been a finalist. You know, you don't have to do a tape anymore. And you know, we got you on our data bank. I'm like, oh fuck, that means like you're gone. Like, once you make it, you don't make the final, then you're out.
Right.
I didn't give a shit. I still sent in the tape and I didn't know where it was going. I heard nothing, not a word for 6 years.
Oh my
so
God.
I finally did that videotape that you see, that everyone sees, that's on YouTube. That's like I'm in Fiji and the music's going and it's professionally shot by the guy from Sports Illustrated. You know, I got the Sports Illustrated girl that, you know, they're like, you Sports Illustrated girls. I'm like, really? You don't care? Like, yeah, dude, you got to get on the show. So I sent that in, and it was like midnight, and my home phone rings, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm exhausted. I let the answer machine get that.
Yeah.
And then you know, then my cell phone rings. And I'm like, oh Jesus, I'm too tired. Well, then I heard my phone beep for like an email. I'm like, well, someone's really trying to get hold of me. What the hell's going on? So I grab my phone, I look, and it's like, hey, it's like, you know, I look at the email. Hey, it's like, hey, Troyzan, it's Lynn Spillman. Are you still interested in Survivor? I mean, I shot out of bed like, you got to be shitting. I saw the phone number. I like instantly dialed her. I'm like, Lynn, this is Troy. It's like, I'm ready. I'll go tomorrow. She goes, just slow down. You still got to come out to LA. You know, we've casted basically everybody for this season. This was like July.
Wow.
That I got a call. I mean, they had casted people way back in January. We're getting ready to go in like 2 weeks. She goes, you got to come to LA. You know, we were missing like basically 2 people.
Yeah.
But you know, if you're still, I said, I'm out, and I flew out to LA like 2 days later, and you know, went into that casting. Like, I mean, it's like, you know, I saw Lynn. She goes, you're perfect. You grew your hair. I grew my hair out a little bit, so that actually helped.
Oh yeah, no, 100%, dude.
And so I mean, I had short hair for a long time, and she goes, "Don't cut your hair, don't do anything. You sound great. You know, when you go in to see these executives, just go in there." And I was so freaking ready. I'm like 11 years, and in my brain, I walked into that CBS studio, and there was like 7 executives, the top guys. Like, I mean,
I know how it is. Yeah,
like Les Moonves himself or some shit. So, and I walk in, and I'm going like this. Wow, this is CBS, and they're looking at me, and I sit down. I don't even wait for them to even. I do not even wait for a question.
Yeah.
I sit down, and they're staring at me with just like this.
Oh yeah,
not even smiling.
Yeah.
And I'm like, do you have any idea how fucking long I've been waiting to sit here, right now, in front of you people? Do you have any idea? Yeah. I said, over 4,000 days. 4,000 days. I said, there's no one out there. No one in America. Nobody's sitting out there that's been waiting longer than I have right here, right now. I said, I've been waiting 11 years to sit in front of you guys and tell you exactly why I should be on this show. And they're just like, whoa.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, you know, I was just like adamant, 4,000. Then they went into this. They said, well, listen, on your sheet here, it looks like, you know, you live in the middle of nowhere in a jungle, like 10 acres, and you got like marmoset monkeys. You're never around. They go, this is a social game. How are you going to play like if you live like out in the middle of like you're a recluse? I said, well, I live with monkeys. I said, you're a primate. That guy over there, he's a primate. And sir, you're a primate. I said, we're all primates, right? And then they're listening. They start fucking laughing. I'm like, I got him. And then they asked me like one last question. They're like, well, this season is really like a lot of religious people doing stuff. This is like coaches season. They're doing prayer circles and stuff. And I'm like, and they're like, what do you think of all that? I said, well, you know, you can keep religion to yourself. I was like, you know, I'm not a big religious guy, but like, if you want to use it, fine. But it's like, I'm not really like, I said, well, you know what? I did go to like Catholic grade school. I said, you know, and I know everything about the Bible. I said, so I'm gonna let them think I'm Jesus Christ himself. They just went. And then Lynn goes like this. She goes, don't say another word. Just get out of here. She goes, I said, okay, I'm out. And I just walked off. And I'm thinking like, I think I got it, but I don't know. I flew home and I still didn't know. When 3 or 4 days went by, I was like, just pacing back and forth. You know, my family was all like, are you on? Are you on? Finally, Lynn calls and she's like, hey, Troyzan. She goes, you know, executives, you know, saw they looked over your stuff and, you know, they made a decision. It was a very calm voice. I'm like, oh, fuck. And she's like, and, you know, it was like a pause. And she goes, they love you and they want to end the show. And I'm like, fuck, I just screamed. I just ran around my backyard just like, yes! I'm like, I've been waiting for this 11 years. It's like, so, you know, but that was kind of my downfall. That was my fault in playing in One World. I told too many people how much I loved the show and how much of a fan I was.
When you were out there
when I was out there sitting around the campfire and talking, and they used that against me. They're like, this guy, if he gets any place far, he's winning.
Right.
He's going to win. Everyone
but how could you not, dude? If that's the thing.
It was me. Like, I was just being myself. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, every day I'd wake up and see the sun rising. I'd see the Survivor Caramoan flag, and I'm like, I can't fucking believe I'm here.
I know. I was the same. I'd wake up and go like, look at our flag. I mean, Manano, and I'm like on Survivor. Every time I'd walk into a challenge, there's Jeff Probst, and I would smile at it and wink and laugh, and he'd go, yeah. You like it. I'm like, look, I'm fucking loving it. He knew it. So, you know, and I got a pretty good edit my first season.
Oh,
so,
dude, you did. Now, here's my other question, dude. So, Troyzan, you played One World. You came back for Game Changers.
Right.
Was the experience? Was it like? I've only played once, so I wonder, like, man, if I think every day I would give anything to go fucking back and play.
Right.
Was your first time the best time? Or was Game Changers a
better? No, I think anybody will probably say their first time is like the best experience. It's just it's new. It's just everything is fantastic. You know, I felt like my first time around was just so like I was in Disney World, you know, and every challenge, the experience, you know, I got super close to everybody. I just feel like the second time around was just like, this is business and you just gotta just, you know, do. You know,
do you think you'll ever play again? Do you think that
Yeah,
like if they if they do a legend season?
I think I do. I honestly do. I mean, I have a dream board right here. I mean, it basically says I'm playing Survivor again, like with a bunch of pictures and shit.
Dude,
I
love
can't. I don't even see that. That's a dream
oh
board.
yeah, I see it. Yeah.
Like part of it. Like where is it? Like, can you see the Survivor up in that corner right there?
I can. Oh yeah, yep,
right there.
Yeah, I see
so
that.
I mean, so then it's on my dream board. So it's like, and I believe big in those.
Yeah.
But no, I want to play again. I feel like I played my first time. I played super hard. I went kind of, just all out, balls out, and got really good at it. My second time, I was like, I think I jumped the gun thinking like people were going to think I'm too much of a threat, but I really was with bigger threats.
Yeah.
So I played the way low key in my mind going, you've got to get to the 39th thing. You want to win? This is what you want to do. You got to get to day 39. If you get to 38, you can't win.
Right.
You have to get to 39. So that was, and it became too much of my focus, and I wasn't like probably being as aggressive as I could have been. Although like the thing is, it's like, I never got a vote against me in Game Changers. Everyone liked me. I was playing the old school way of like, they're going to like me at the end like they did Sandra.
Yep.
And they're going to hate, and they hated Sarah. I mean, they were flipping her off every time she'd come in. I'm like, well, that's good for me.
Yeah, right.
But I didn't realize that, what the jury, you don't know what the jury's thinking or what they're going to do. And if the jury wanted someone who was really going to backstab and really, like, I guess, play a game, that's what they wanted. Now, if they would have voted for me, they would have shown everything that I did. They did, and because I didn't get any votes, they're not going to show any of my game. They just didn't. Well, was I bummed? Yeah, because people think like, well, what did he do out there? He didn't do anything.
But I guarantee
I
played a strategic ass game the whole time. Like they didn't. No,
I did, and they didn't show it. But like I think as time goes on, I'm getting more and more people were saying like, I saw the things that you were doing or trying to do. It's like, I know you didn't get shown, and I wish that you would have. And it makes you feel a little better. But like, part of you wants to go. There were so many conversations like, God, why didn't they show that? Or like they showed.
I feel the same fucking way. It drives me insane. Right. You're at the, the editors can show whatever they want. Like, I came back and I told my wife everything that happened. My strategic gameplay.
Right.
I was fucking strategic every fucking day.
Right.
And then it's like they show the Philip Shepard drama, the Brandon Hans drama, the this or that.
Right.
And I'm like, motherfucker. And since I didn't make it far enough, they had to show the story of how this person got from day 1 to day 38.
And then you guys got screwed at the finale.
Yeah. So
my God, that finale thing was just the biggest bullshit.
It was. We recently.
I was bummed out for you guys.
It sucked. It sucked. And Brandon Hans just posted a video a week ago, or maybe 2 weeks now, apologizing to CBS and Philip Shepard because he's wanting to try to play again.
No,
I'm like, motherfucker, he should have apologized to the whole Caramoan cast because that's why we didn't get
play. He's not playing.
He's not playing again. And we had Russell Hansen on our podcast last week, and Russell's like, I would never play Blood versus Water with Brandon Hans. If I was to play Blood versus Water, I would play with my daughter, not Brandon.
He's always going to have a mark on him. I don't care what anybody says. Russell, you're always going to have a mark, bro. It's just what it is. It's like it is. So, Troyzan, where can people listening to our podcast? Because we're doing this live now, and then it's going to go up on the audio. Is going to go on iTunes and stuff. Where can people find what Troyzan is up to on all your social media stuff? It's just basically on Twitter. I'm just at Troyzan. And then on Instagram, I at Troy_Zan because someone took Troyzan, I guess. I don't know. So it's basically, and I have a Troyzan fan page on Facebook. My website, basically, that's where you can really get if you wanted to get a hold of me, like if you want to email me.
Yeah,
it's just my name, TroyRobertson.com.
Well, Troyzan, it's been a pleasure. We've had, like I said, Jonny Fairplay is in New Jersey live with 2 of the winners.
Cool.
And he's filming a podcast and a Q&A with Nick and Michelle, which will have to air after the season due to all the CBS stuff. But
right.
man, we've had, like I said, legends such as, Sari and
Right.
Russell Hance and Richard had. I mean, the list goes on and on. We've had tons of guests.
Awesome.
But I was looking so forward to having you on the podcast, and thank you so much, Troyzan,
Thanks, man.
for joining me.
It's always a blast to talk, and man, it's like, and I've told you this before when I first met you. It's like, I think you were like, you think people know me? And like, dude, it's like, I knew your name, Matt Bischoff. Like, you're a character that's very easy to remember. I really do think that you'll probably play again. I feel like one of those where it's like,
Well, they called my wife for Blood versus Water too.
Yeah, so I'm just saying,
they called my wife and they said, "Would you play with Matt?" And she's like, "Yeah." And we started going through the whole process. And then the second Blood versus Water was all newbies, so that fucked up that. But God, dude, it's just
but if they call you, to me, like, then you're on the radar.
I would
even if years and years go by. Let me look at some of these people like Jervis. I called him like fucking.
Oh yeah.
Later. Like, just I'm saying in general. Like, so, you're enough of a character where like they get you back on. I just feel
I would love to play again, man, and I hope to see you play. Maybe we fucking play together.
Yeah, people like, like, you guys did a podcast. Yeah, so what?
Yeah, right, exactly. Well, Troyzan, man, I know you got to get up early. Thank you guys so much for checking out Survivor NSFW, covering this awesome season of Survivor Winners at War. We'll see you next week. Cheers, everybody, and good night, you all.
Yeah, thanks.